Welcome to Mastering the Transformation to Tableau Next. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what is Tableau Next and how you can start to think about the future of your data and analytics and also incorporate it into what you have now. So let's go ahead, one slide here. All right, so our forward-looking statements, as always, we're going to show you some things that are not yet publicly available, and so of course, make your purchasing decisions accordingly. Purchase things based on what is existing in market now, and we'll walk you through some really cool things. So, who are we? I am Alexandra Caldwell-Wenman. I'm a Senior Director of Product here at Salesforce on Tableau, and I am joined by...
Hello everyone, this is Bhavna. I'm Product Management Director at Salesforce.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what you can take away from the session. As I mentioned earlier, you'll be able to we'll talk a little bit about what is Tableau Next. We'll talk about its generative AI capabilities, which are, of course, one of the major focuses of TDX. And we'll talk about unified semantics, what it is, how you can leverage it, and then we'll talk a little bit about how this can be used to transform your business. Secondly, we'll talk about basically what is the future and how you can start to optimize your data strategy looking in that direction. And then also we'll do a deep dive on how you can start to take these capabilities, combine them with your existing data stacks, and figure out what is the best deployment for you. So let's start with the problem. Basically, as we talk to customers, one of the things that comes up a lot is that everyone agrees that data and analytics is really important. 96% of our leaders will say that it improves their decision making. It's a really key part of their business. But unfortunately, we have a lot of customers that are what we like to call data rich and insight poor. And specifically, that means a couple of different things. So we have people who have very fragmented data. So one part of your business unit might have data in one place, another business unit has data in a completely different place. Maybe they are kind of sharing it, maybe they're not sharing it at all. Also, because you have these very fragmented data sources, you have different analysts doing all kinds of different work and building different aspects and elements for you, you end up with a lack of trusted data. So we see that a lot where analysts know the parts that they built or people that they collaborated with, but if someone else hands them a data source or says, go connect to this or that, they're like, well, I don't actually know what you did. It's very hard for me to understand what to do with this. And so as a result, a lot of our customers end up with very missed critical insights because they don't have their data all together, they're not sure what they can trust. It's just hard to kind of be able to pull all the pieces together to know, okay, here's how we should interact with our customers, here's how we should run our business. And then finally, you also have a lack of reusability. And this doesn't necessarily come to mind all that often, but if I'm building a data source and I've got a viz and a workbook, it's going to be hard for someone like Bhavna to use the exact same thing to go build something different. There's capabilities that she can probably leverage from the same data, but basically she's going to have to go build her own vizes and workbooks. And so we wanted to make sure that we could solve that problem as well, because that reusability part makes this much more efficient. So as we think about Tableau Next, we wanted to really look at how can we bring these elements together to help people optimize their workflows, how can we bring in Agentforce and the generative AI capabilities, and how can we essentially make it so that you're getting better business outcomes. So let's talk about what is Tableau Next. So again, it's the agentic analytics. Really, that means there's generative AI capabilities underneath it, and it's got actionable insights anywhere. So I don't know if any of you have gotten to see some of the demos on the second floor, but one of the things that you'll see in them is that you can start to ask questions, you can ask deeper questions, and then you can say things like, well, can you make me a viz out of this? If I've got sales data and I've got leads, can you help me build a campaign for those leads so that I can close them? And so that's really where it becomes actionable. So we wanted to make sure that it's contextually aware, it looks at your organization, it's looking at your data, it's grounded in your data. And that helps it to be very smart about the work that you're doing. And it's also meant to be agents and humans working together. So these are not capabilities that are running off on their own. It's things where you can ask a question and it's helping you to do your work. Or it'll make recommendations on here's how we think you can put this together really efficiently. And you'll see some of those in our demo as we think about how we build semantic data models, for example. And then also everything is reusable. And that's one of the big themes that we'll keep coming back to. But as you're creating capabilities, we wanted to make sure that you could use them throughout your entire organization to be really efficient, and also to make sure that you can leverage these capabilities anywhere, depending on which, regardless of which kind of data stack that you've got. And then finally, it's all built on Salesforce. So you've got access to our APIs, you've got access to things like Hyperforce, which makes it really secure, and also it's compliant, which is really important because that tends to be if you don't have this, you can't pass go, don't collect $200. So we wanted to make sure that that's really important too. All right, so as we think about Tableau Next, we'll start over here on the far left-hand side. And one of the important things to think about with Tableau Next, and this takes a little bit to wrap your mind around if you haven't seen it before, is that it is composable. So it's built in layers, and that becomes really important. We'll talk about that in more detail. But the lowest layer on the bottom here is the data layer. And that is basically going to allow you to pull your data from anywhere and pull it into a centralized place. And Bhavna's going to talk about more detail exactly what that means. And then above that, you've got your semantic layer. And your semantic layer is where you're keeping basically your metric definitions, your calculations. One of the examples that I love to give is on my team, we were looking at conversion from a product point of view, and our marketing team was also looking at conversion. And our numbers were similar, but not the same. And so this was one of those lovely moments where everyone goes, well, why are your numbers similar but not the same? So we're like, okay, let us go back, we'll figure it out. It took us a couple of weeks because we had to run through like, here's how we're calculating this, here's how marketing is calculating this, we have different vises. And then anytime someone would see it who hadn't been a part of this conversation, they'd go, why are your numbers similar but not the same? And we'd go, okay, well, but we take it offline, we'll schedule a separate meeting and walk you again through why our numbers are similar but not the same. The semantic layer allows you to make sure that you've got one conversion metric. It is now the same across your organization. In product, we can go build out the dashboards that we need to have. Marketing can go build out their dashboards. And we're going to have the same numbers now, even though our use cases of what we're doing with them are different. And then you've got your visualization layer. And your visualization layer is what everyone tends to think about when they think about data visualizations. It's the bar charts, the graphs, the vises, the things that you interact with. And then we've got the actionability layer. And this part is a little bit new. And again, it's some of the stuff that you can see on the second floor where you can go in, you can ask questions, it can make recommendations for you, and you can ask things like, can you build a viz for me based on the things that I've asked you about? Can you build a campaign for me? Can you do various aspects based on what I'm seeing? And so it can start to take those actions. So it saves you quite a lot of time as you're going through the process of your normal day-to-day work. And then shooting all the way over here onto the left-hand side, all of this incorporates Agentforce throughout it. And so you'll see some of that in the demo as well, where basically you can take all of these capabilities and as you're working, Agentforce will go, hey, I can make a recommendation for you. Or I can do various aspects so that you don't have to plug and manually do all those things yourself. It just makes your life a whole lot easier. All right, so Bhavna, would you like to tell us a little bit about how they can leverage their existing investments?
Absolutely. Thank you, Alex. All right, so Tableau Next is designed to leverage your existing investments. So for, if you are a CRM analytics customer or whether you are a Tableau customer, you can start to leverage Tableau Next right away. So we are going to give you tools and features that will enable you to add Tableau Next experiences on top of your CRM analytics and your Tableau experiences. And we're going to show that to you. So are you all ready for a demo?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So in this demo, we're going to kind of go through a little journey. We're going to start with CRM analytics. We're going to take a CRM analytics data set. We're going to take that and we're going to convert that to a semantic model. This semantic model will be based off the CRM analytics data set. We are then going to connect Tableau Next to this semantic model. You're going to explore the semantic model, you're going to build visualizations on it, and then we will also connect Tableau to the same semantic model. So you can see a truly unified experience with one semantic layer connecting to it from Tableau Next, and then you can also connect to it from Tableau. All right, so let's get started. Cool. Any CRM analytics customers in the audience? Awesome. All right, so this looks very familiar to you, right? So we have a CRM analytics recipe over here. You've probably spent a lot of time and effort building this out, and then you're like, okay, what does Tableau Next mean for me? Like, how can I start to leverage Tableau Next on what I've already built? So On the left-hand side, for people who don't know CRM analytics, in the green, these are your input nodes. Then we have some joins where you can join a case with an account or with other elements. You do some transformations. And then finally, after your recipe is done, you output what we call data sets. So in this case, we have two data sets. We have a case history data set, and then we have a case data set. So for the purpose of this demo, we're going to take this case data set, and we're going to see how we can create a semantic model from this. All right, so far, everyone's good, right? CRM Analytics existing recipe, we've got a data set, now we're going to move forward. Cool. All right, so how do I do that? It's pretty simple. All you have to do is you come to CRM Analytics, Data Manager, click on New Recipe right here. All right. Once you do that, now you are in this new recipe. Remember, this was the cases data set that we just saw in the previous recipe. So now we're going to take this cases data set and we are going to convert it to a data cloud, data lake object. How do we do that? So click on the plus right here and you see this output, click on output. All right, what do I want to write it to? I want to write this data set to a data cloud, DLO. I'm going to call it cases, you can call it something else. I'm going to call the API cases as well. My data space is default and I'm going to select a primary ID. All right, so let's click on apply. So what this is doing is taking my data set and converting it into a data cloud, data lake object. Okay, I just do a save and run right here. Cool. Now let's go to my jobs monitor. This is where I basically monitor my CRM analytics recipes. I see that it is running, but in the interest of time, I've already run it. So what happens when the recipe finishes? I have my data set and I should have a data cloud, data lake object. So let's go to Data Cloud and see if a data lake object was created for me. Voila, it was, and it should be, right? So now we have our cases data lake object. This is based off your CRM analytics data set, right? So now your existing assets, your existing data sets, you can use them and you can start to build Tableau Next experiences on top of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do next, I'm going to create a semantic model on this data lake object. Currently, Tableau Semantics doesn't support data lake objects. It will very soon. So I have to go through a small couple of steps to take this data lake object and map it to what we call a data model object, where we have all these mappings. It's not complex, so all you have to do is you have to click on start right here. It can sometimes take a little bit, so I've got something over here already. So you select on start over there, you select your object over here, you come here, new custom object, you name it, whatever you want your DMO to be named. I'm going to call it cases_demo. You click on done, and that's it. And that should create a map data model object for you. Okay, so now all that is done. I have my data model object. It's called cases_DMO. The journey so far, data set, data lake object, a mapped DMO. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a semantic model on this cases_demo DMO. Okay, so how do we do that? All right, so let's click on semantic layer. I'm going to select new model because I'm going to create a new model. And I'm going to start with a new model. So let's click on next. I am going to use the DMO I just created from my CRM data set, but I want to create a little bit more sophisticated semantic model. So I'm going to use accounts, cases, and sales. So I'm going to use 3 objects for my semantic model. Click on next, call it something. We're going to call it transform TDX demo. All right, let's go ahead and create it. Sorry. Oops, I already created that, so I'll call it transforms. And let's go ahead and create it. Okay.
Apparently, we've done this a bunch of times as we were practicing, and we have named it every variation of this.
Okay, I'm going to try this again. All right, let's click on new model, start with the new model, start _demo, accounts, cases, sales. And I'm maybe going to call it something else, transformation, demo 1. Okay, hopefully this works. Create. Yay, all right, okay. So now we can see we have a semantic model. We have 3 objects in it. Those are the 3 objects that are selected, sales, accounts, and cases. Now Tableau Semantics can actually recommend relationships for you. It can see what are the objects in the semantic model, and it can suggest a relation for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at these suggestions. So I click here, And let's click here. So between sales and account, Tableau Semantics is recommending a relationship. It looks good to me. I'm going to click on apply. Similarly, over here, I have a recommended relationship. Looks good to me. I'm going to click on apply. So now semantic model, 3 objects, all of them are connected. Now let's make a semantic model a little bit more sophisticated. So I'm going to create a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to create is a calculated field. So a calculated field is like a formula field that gets then added on to your semantic model. Okay, so you see over here this draft with Einstein. So I'm going to use AI. I'm going to actually enter my command in natural language, and I will have Einstein draft my calculated field for me. So let's click here. Oops, not this one. Accounts at risk with escalated cases and no activity for 100 days. Okay. All right, so Einstein's thinking, it's reading and over here. Okay, awesome. So now we have, I was able to use Einstein to draft a calculated field for me. Let's do a quick sanity check, greater than 100. I see my escalation status is escalated. Let's go ahead and save it. Cool. So now I have a calculated field created for me. One more thing I want to do is on the semantic model is I want to create a metric. So metric is your way to basically look at any insights that's important for your business and be able to slice and dice it with using different dimensions. So I'm going to create a metric called sales over time. Okay, let's click on next. Okay, I want to look at my sales amount, and I want to look at it over a period of time. So I'm going to look at this. And I'm going to add some additional dimensions, because when I want to look at my sales, I do want to look at it as a trend over time, but I also want to look at it over channel, by region. So let me just go ahead and add those dimensions over here. Oops, and unfortunately there is an error, but typically what you should have seen over here, it was working 20 minutes ago. What you should have seen over here is a trend line, and with sales amount and as well as date should be your x-axis. So let's click on next and save it. Okay. Okay, sorry, it's not working.
Live code. We did tell you. We're going to show you some future
This is a live
things.
demo, yes, real life code. Awesome. All right, so assume that happened. You had a semantic metric created for you. The next thing what we want to do is we want to actually create visualizations on top of this semantic model using Tableau Next. So the journey so far, CRM data set, you converted that to a semantic model, and now you want to explore Tableau Next. You want to augment all your CRM analytics with these Tableau Next experiences. So let's go ahead and do that. So I am going to now navigate over to Tableau. The label's a little outdated. Pretend you see Tableau Next. So I'm going to click on Tableau Einstein. And I'm going to now start to explore the semantic model that I just created. So typically content creators, they are going to work in a workspace. A workspace is where they house all their analytics content and all their analytics workflows. So let's click on new workspace. I am going to call it workspace TDX demo. Cool. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to add an existing asset. And what's that asset that I'm going to add? I'm going to add my semantic model that I just created. Okay. Okay, I created 2 minutes ago. I'm going to select this. All right. The next thing I want to do is, like I said earlier, we're going to build some visualizations on this. So let's go ahead and add a new visualization. Okay. Select. What I want to do here is I want to look at my cases resolution cost by industry. All right. So now this will give me, how does my case resolution cost look by industry, which industries are doing better than the others, which, probably need a little bit of best practices. So it looks like healthcare has the highest case resolution cost, manufacturing has the lowest. Maybe some best practices that we can learn from manufacturing. So let's go ahead and save this. Well, I should name it before saving it. And because I am very creative, I'm going to call it case resolution by industry. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and save it. Now let's go back to our workspace. So our workspace, right, I said it is, all content creators can use this to basically house all their analytics content. So we have a semantic model here. We have a visualization over here. Now let's go ahead and create a dashboard. So I'm going to create a new dashboard. And let me add the visualization that I just created over here. Let's add it. Select. Awesome. And then let's add that metric. Hopefully it shows up here, even though it errored previously. Okay. Now, all right, okay. I can show this to you in a demo video as well if you're interested. Come and see me later. Okay, so what we have over here is we've got a dashboard, we've got a visualization in it, we've got a pulse metric in it, and we could now preview it. We can explore this, we can take a look at how you can slice and dice your metrics by the different dimensions. If this was working, I would have shown you how you could actually, remember I had added channel and region? You could actually slice and dice this data by the 2 different dimensions. Okay, so recap, journey so far. CRM data set, semantic model based off the CRM data set. We created Tableau Next experiences on top of the semantic model. Next, what Alex is going to show you is she's going to show you how from Tableau you can connect to this very same semantic model that I had created, use all of Tableau functionality and features on it.
Yes. All right, so we have been telling you that these elements are composable, and that's exactly what we're going to show you. All right, so first off, I'm in Tableau. This is Tableau Desktop for anyone who's not as familiar with it. If I want to add a connector, I can connect to Salesforce Data Cloud, which is exactly where Bhavna was just working to create that semantic data model. So from Tableau, I can now connect to that same set of data, the same semantic data model that we just made, so I can start to use this across my entire analytics ecosystem. All right, in this case, we are working with live code that does not quite have all its UI components, so we're going to do a little bit of scripting magic here. And we're going to use a script to put to connect to our semantic data model. So let's go double check the name, because we're going to need to name it a slightly different thing to make sure that we're connecting to that same semantic data model. Unfortunately, you get to watch me scroll a tiny bit, but I swear it's not that long. All right, so we are going to TDX underscore, oh, not spelled that way, transform, demo, and then 1. All right. Does that look the same as what Bhavna created a second ago? Okay, perfect. Oh, it's not connecting.
Try the name again. I think it was transformation.
Transformation. Okay,
yeah,
that's why. One of you led me astray. All right, we're going to scroll over again. Transformation. All right. Let's check that one. We'll say, okay, this looks much better already. All right, and now with here, you can see if we go to our data source, that this is the same model that Bhavna just made. It looks a little different because it's Tableau, but you can see how our accounts are tied to the cases and sales. And in this case, we are going to look at another semantic model as we build out some of our deeper visualizations. We're going to look at internet sales, simply because this one is more robust, and so we didn't want to make you watch us connect all these things up. We could do some pretty cool things with it. So as we look at internet sales, let's look at longitude. Let's look at latitude. And now you'll start to see I could do more complicated things because I could start to build out maps. And let's look at cities. This particular data set is looking at sale of bikes and bike accessories. And so I want to know what cities I happen to be selling them in. And that is wonderful, but I love when things are color-coded. It helps me to visualize them. So now I can see all the cities by color. And if I want to get really fancy at this exact moment, going really fast, of course. Let's see, English, product, category, name, I believe. I'm going to drag this. Now I can start to see those different categories across those different cities. So for example, if I wanted to check, I can see that I've got a couple cities in Utah that, for example, like Cedar City, that is selling accessories, but Cedar City doesn't sell bikes, and Cedar City doesn't sell clothing either. In fact, neither of the cities in Utah happen to be selling clothing. And so this is something then where I might go, oh, there's an opportunity if they can sell the accessories, or maybe they should sell the bikes. And I can start to ask it more questions as I dig in deeper to understand, like, why are they not selling bikes? Does everyone in Cedar City already have a bike? But basically the big summary around, as you see this and as we build out this visualizations, is that those semantic models and those layers that we talked about earlier, they start to work regardless of which products that you have. So in this case, Bhavna showed you how to use that same semantic model and build analytics within Tableau Next. And then that same semantic model can be leveraged in Tableau. So you can have either bite-sized chunks of information that you can share over Slack, or you can dig in really deep and build out much more complicated visualizations. And it can get much more beautiful and complicated than what I just went and did here. And of course, we would not want to leave out CRMA. So we didn't walk you through this because it's still being built, much more so than the things that we just showed. It's not loading. There it goes. Okay. But basically, the same thing that we showed you with regards to Tableau Next and Tableau, you'll be able to do with CRMA as well. So that same semantic layer, you'll be able to leverage it within CRMA. So regardless of what investments that you've already made or what capabilities you're already using, you'll be able to leverage these capabilities across your entire business. That was really important for us as we think about how do people prepare for the future, is that we want the capabilities to be available regardless of where you are, and we want to meet you where you are. All right, Bhavna, do you want to tell us a little bit about when they can expect to play with these things?
Absolutely.
With all the UI parts.
Absolutely. All right. So let's talk about the roadmap. Available now is what you just saw us walk you through, right? So we started with the CRMA data set. We were able to output that out. So available now, you can output your data from CRMA and Tableau to data cloud, data lake objects. And then you can build semantic models on top of it. So that's already available. Go ahead and you can try it out. Coming in summer of 2025, you will be able to connect to Tableau semantics or semantic data models from Tableau core, which is what Alex walked you through, right? She was able to start with a Tableau, and she was able to open up a semantic data model in Tableau and build visualizations on top of that. Summer of 2025, we will also beta a feature where you will be able to connect a semantic data model from your Tableau published data sources. So let's say you have created Tableau published data sources. You will now be able to directly create a semantic data model based on this published data source. And once you have this semantic data model created on your published data source, you can start to build Tableau Next experiences on top of it because your semantic data model is created for you. In winter 2025, you will be able to, from CRM Analytics, you will be able to connect to Tableau Semantics, you'll be able to explore semantic models, you will be able to build visualizations on top of it, which is a slide that Alex had just showed. Also, the feature where you can create semantic models on Tableau published data sources, that will GA in winter 25. So for all you Tableau customers out here who build Tableau published data sources, and you want to get started with Tableau Next, you don't want to recreate your semantic models from published data sources, you can use this feature. In 2026, what we're going to do is, when you saw me in the earlier part of the demo, I actually went through several steps to be able to create a semantic data model from a CRMA data set. But in 2026, you will be able to do that directly. So you'll be able to start from a CRMA data set, Tableau Semantics, you'll be able to create a semantic data model from your CRMA data sets directly. Also in 2026, we will be rolling out transformation tooling. So if you want to migrate and transform your assets from Tableau and CRM Analytics to Tableau Next, we will provide you tooling to do that. So for example, you have a CRM Analytics recipe, you have a CRM Analytics visualization, and you want to migrate that over to Tableau Next, we are going to give you tooling so you can automate that process. So in summary, Tableau Next is designed to leverage your existing investments. Whether you're a CRM Analytics customer or a Tableau customer, you can start to leverage Tableau Next. We are going to give you tools and features that will support you in your journey to Tableau Next. And if you choose to, and when you're ready to, if you want to migrate assets to Tableau Next from Tableau or CRM Analytics, you will have tooling that will automate that process for you. So that's the roadmap. What else do we have, Alex?
We got questions.
Oh,
well, maybe we have questions. But number one, thank you for all of you listening and for your assistance. And then also, if you have questions, we can take some of those. There's a mic right up here. And for anyone who maybe doesn't have a question or is going to wait in line for their question, we also have a survey where you can give us some feedback. You can get a free coffee. And so we would love you to fill that out as well. Does anyone have any questions around Tableau Next? Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, my voice.
No worries.
I have a Tableau Plus license for myself, not for work. And so the question is, how do I go about getting access to this since I've already licensed? I've been licensed for Tableau Plus for about a year now and haven't been really able to do anything but regular old Tableau.
Do you want me to take it?
Go ahead.
Okay. So yes. So one of the things that you'll start to see. So you should be able to access Data Cloud with your Tableau Plus license.
It tells me I'm not licensed for Data Cloud, even though it is Plus.
Oh.
This feels like maybe a conversation. Have you talked to your SE or your AE?
I don't have an AE.
Oh, okay. We should connect you with one. Okay.
Yes.
Wait till afterwards, and we'll find the right person to connect you with.
The other
because yeah.
One other question.
Yes.
Tableau Prep. Where does that arrangement come into it? And are you going to allow Tableau Prep, Tableau visualizations through cloud within Tableau Next?
Okay. So Tableau Prep Sorry, say that again differently. I think I understand.
Using Tableau Next, can I create Tableau Prep? And can I create visualizations, they're basically online?
Yes. Okay, so I believe there are some future plans around that. We'd have to look in to know exactly the timeline of what that looks like. But a lot of that prep work you may still do in prep and then pull it either into Tableau and then your semantics, or you may pull it from prep over to semantics. So there may be some in-between steps while we pull all those things together. Tableau Prep hasn't been one of our do it first round kind of elements, but we definitely have not forgotten about it because it is one of the things that separates Tableau in terms of being able to clean and prepare data from other aspects in the market. So it becomes very important.
Yeah, and the transformation tooling that you see over here, right in the roadmap, that will help you to take your Tableau, if you created prep flows, to move that to Tableau Next.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you all very
It was
much.
great to meet all of you.